Conversations with myself. Writing to discover thoughts. Perhaps it is a peculiarity of mine that despite the fact that I am a professional performer, it is true that I have always preferred playing without an audience. 11.
One of my favorite albums of all time is Bill Evans' Conversations with Myself. It strikes me while listening and writing that all good writing is essentially an ongoing conversation the writer has with themselves. All good art, in fact, seems to be a comfort in talking to oneself on display. How else can I express something honest if I can't ask myself what is true? See how I just did precisely that? These questions are in actuality just questions Jake is asking Jake. So why write it down then? Why not record it or speak it aloud in a comfy room? That's another great question. I'm not really sure. It might be that writing is a forcing function for clarity. When I want to find out an intuition I have, what I really think about a topic, I can often just begin writing my thoughts as they happen and see the intuition come out onto the word processor. And speaking doesn't have that same effect of linear traceability. Writing down what I'm thinking shows me how poorly I often am, and allows me to begin to think better. This is why clear writing can expose absurdity that was surreptitiously tucked away in plain sight. It's why Orwell said that we have now sunk to a depth at which the restatement of the obvious is the first duty of intelligent men. Because falseness is not obvious when you can't go back and reread the wobbly fallacy bridging two foreign coasts. But on the page it's fat and awkward. You can lie to yourself in your head effortlessly. You do it in your sleep. Your brain connects the non sequiturs for you and shortcuts to a conclusion that is agreeable. But in writing, you can't lie to yourself. It feels juvenile and feeble-minded, obvious and insincere to keep in. The logic is plainly brittle, and you wouldn't want to sign off on it. You can hear the record skipping, and so do the readers. I told my brother once that the quickest way to write an essay is to avoid the truth, what you actually think. You can build a false argument so fast. With this idea of not wanting to display poor thinking, I begin to wonder not why I write, but who I write for. I think there's a great tension about who I write for. Firstly, I think I write for myself, as I've said. I write in order to think and discover thoughts and improve them. But of course, writing is a social activity. It can be a political postmortem. It can reveal sneaky activity like journalism. It can present facts. It can be entertainment. Writing is, after all, best read. You get into trouble, though, when you write with or without the reader in mind. If I write with the reader in mind, I'm changing my language, and thus my thoughts, for an imagined audience. I'm being insincere. I think, oh, they might like this, or what would sound more exciting? How can I get this shared more? So that's the first kind of bad writing. The second is when I write without the reader in mind. The fields of academia, politics, philosophy, and in general just verbose intellectuals are guilty of this. It's why plain writing is so refreshing. It might even be why we love Hemingway. The slogan of the readers who are forced to suffer the second type of bad writing is get to the point. When I write without the reader in mind, I'm not disciplined enough. I assume they will know what I mean or feel what I feel. I show a disrespect for the reader's time and mind. So in either case, weighing the reader too much or too little, the writing isn't clear. I'm not sure Bill Evans would have liked me using jazz to illustrate an intellectual argument. He once said, "It bugs me when people try to analyze jazz as an intellectual theorem. It's not. It's feeling." But I guess that's kind of what I want to say. Writing is about allowing yourself to feel and thinking with yourself, and then sometimes sharing it publicly. The spirit of jazz is opening up and seeing what comes out. We usually call this improvisation, but That's not really precise enough. It seems improvised because it happened so suddenly when done well, but those melodies were steeping inside for a long while before they came out. From one record you heard when you were 14, from a song you heard in an old film, from the millions of conversations and emotions that make up your life. I think so, at least. This is how writing feels when I'm doing it at my best. It's being deliberate enough to ask myself in writing one small question. And it's the interview with myself that follows. The conversation with myself. Thanks for watching and for listening to this essay on writing. If you like these kinds of topics, consider subscribing to my channel and checking out my video on Jack Kerouac's rules for better writing. Thanks.